Good afternoon. Welcome to our Get to Know GUARD webinar. My name is Megan Piney. I'm one of the business development representatives here at Stuckey & Company. First, I would like to thank all of you for joining us today. It looks like there's still some agents logging on, so before we get into the GUARD details, I want to go through a few things with you all. First, if you would like to ask a question, please find the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Please ask any questions and we will do our best to get to those at the end of the webinar. If we don't get to your questions, we will be doing a follow-up with you via phone call or email. Next, I would like to thank Dylan Stuckey, our lead GUARD underwriter here at Stuckey, for joining us today. He is our go-to guy for anything GUARD related. I would also like to thank Dan Rodenfeld, Senior Field Representative at GUARD Insurance. He will be talking to you all about GUARD and their awesome products today. Jordan Levin, Missouri underwriter for large GUARD accounts, and Jess Safranovich, inside marketing rep at GUARD, are also joining us today. So thank you, ladies. As of today, Stuckey & Company has 9 specialty insurance programs that we offer to our licensed agents. This year, we have completed 27 successful years in business and are going on our 28th year. We are a family-owned business with 1 location, and we've remained dedicated to our growing agency network while serving over 9,000 licensed independent insurance agents nationwide and over 200,000 customers by providing excellent service from our unmatched 151 promise. At Stuckey, we do everything from creating specialty programs for our agents and managing all areas of the insurance cycle for your client's account. This includes underwriting, rating and rule generation, program placement, quoting, binding. We also issue policies. We provide policy services such as processing endorsements, change requests, issue certificates of insurance. We handle the renewal issuance, invoicing, and billing. We also do some systems integration, claims handling, marketing, and free product and insurance training, such as this webinar. Here is a list of our 8 specialty programs we offer to our agents. First, we have Safety Tech, our technology E&O insurance program, which started over 20 years ago. Our technology program, Safety Tech, includes broader coverage, lower minimum premiums, and competitively priced for even some of the most complex type services in the technology industry. Next, we have Inspire A&E for architects and engineers, Arbor Guard, which was Stuckey's first program, started 27 years ago, which handles marinas and boat dealers. We have our miscellaneous professional liability program, which consists of 350 eligible classes in NPL. We have Element for the green energy industry, and then personal lines, of course, which include homeowners, personal auto, watercraft, high value home, and more. Then, of course, we have our commercial lines markets, which include BOP, work comp, commercial auto, bonds, just to name a few. And last, we have our surplus line markets for non-standard lines if any risks fall outside of our underwriting guidelines. So now we are going to pass it off to Dan, and he is going to talk to you guys about GUARD and their products. Dan, are you there? Dan, we are not able to hear you. If your phone is on mute or if we're having trouble with the audio.
Megan, can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry about that.
No problem.
You guys are seeing my screen as well?
Yes.
Great. Well, I'll just introduce myself quickly then. As Megan mentioned, Dan Rodenfels. I'm the field marketing rep with Berkshire Hathaway GUARD. I cover a territory here in the middle part of the country, Missouri, part of Illinois. Jess Safranovich is on the line as well. Jess works with me and a variety of our brokers around the country as kind of an internal marketing source. So we're glad everybody was able to join us for a little bit of time and learn a little bit more about Berkshire Hathaway GUARD here. So with that, let's kind of get into it. We're going to kind of gear our conversation more around the general appetite with GUARD, some of the underwriting, some of the little quirks and kind of differentiators in our program that'll maybe help us stand out over some of the other standard markets we compete against. So just to give you guys, again, sticking with some quick background, I think most people are familiar with Berkshire Hathaway. Uncle Warren is the owner of the company, Warren Buffett. We all know Warren. Berkshire Hathaway is an A+ rated company by AM Best, or Berkshire Hathaway GUARD is A+ rated. Our parent then, Berkshire Hathaway, is A++ rated. So certainly, pretty healthy financial backing that we carry here. Something that we're pretty proud of. I mean, GUARD is still probably a pretty well-kept secret as you move around the country. We are growing at a pretty good clip, and you can see the trajectory here. GUARD's roots were really in work comp. They started as a monoline work comp carrier. We've added lines of business over the years and will continue to add more lines of business, as I'll talk about here later in the presentation. We passed $1 billion in premiums in 2016 and are looking to surpass $3 billion in the early 2020s. So, that's what we're all kind of working towards, and hope all of you guys can contribute to that. We certainly pride ourselves on profitability. Our combined ratio is something we're always looking at. So, I mean, it's important for us to grow and write business, but, to engage underwriting and do it profitably as well. And on your guys' side, Dylan is certainly instrumental in helping us do that. So with that, let's talk about some of the products that we have. I mentioned work comp already. That's something we've done for a long time. We write an awful lot of work comp. We can do still monoline. Business owners, the BOP program. We have a BOP stretched about as thin as you can have a BOP stretched. I mean, we're writing a lot of larger property through our BOP program, and we'll share a little bit more about that with you as well. We're writing a commercial umbrella to certainly supplement our other commercial lines of business. And then commercial auto. This is an area where, we're really looking to grow and write more business. We can write commercial auto as part of a package. We can write a single unit, couple units. We can write your large fleets, and we can do so monoline. We know a lot of commercial carriers are not lining up to write commercial auto today. So that's an area where we can certainly come in and help you guys. You'll find our appetite is a little more on the basic side. We're looking for more of the contractors' fleets, your vans, trucks, into some kind of intermediate vehicles. We're going to stay away from trucking, livery, and certainly some of your heavier type vehicles there. Megan mentioned that Stuckey has some programs on the professional line side. We are certainly doing more in that space. We'll speak to that a little bit. We have a homeowners program in 6 states that has a dwelling fire component to it. We'll be adding more states throughout 2019, and we have a personal umbrella to help supplement those activities. So that gives you just kind of a high-level overview. So what the heck are we writing in terms of classes then? Well, we love Artisan Contractors. I mean, and I know your other carriers come into your offices and say the same things, but, again, BOP, work comp, commercial auto, we can be kind of one-stop shopping for those guys. So we'll talk a little more about that. Auto services, your auto repair, your auto body shops, your parts stores, your emission testing centers. We really
Dana, it appears we lost your audio there.
And several other lines of business there. Hotel, but then we can also write your motels with the exterior room entrance. People don't love. Professional offices, fairly straightforward there. Any of your general business offices, physicians, accountants, just general white collar type of office exposures. Restaurants, another class of business that can be a little bit tougher. And we'll talk about some gaps where, or differentiators where we can help with restaurants where some of our competitors might not be as excited to write that business. Restaurants, another class of business. Work comp, BOP, commercial auto. And once you get into delivery, it's going to be a little more challenging, but we'll talk about what we can do there. Certainly your retail exposures. Service industry is fairly self-explanatory. We're now writing some storage facilities, which are new for us. Any of your mini storage, self-storage. We're doing some work on the wholesale distributor side. Another class of business not really noted or highlighted here is C-stores and truck stops, with and without gas. And then we can now entertain for any and all of these, which is more applicable to some than others, but 24-hour exposures. So we know a lot of our competitors start to back out when you get into any kind of 24-hour operations. That's something we can certainly look at. Work comp, just to give you guys kind of a high level, we are writing monoline. I think we talked about that. We are writing in all 46 of your non-monopolistic states. Work comp's an area we want to grow. We're doing a lot of smaller work comp, but we can do your larger opportunities as well. Certainly we have more of an appetite when you move into the higher mods if it's something that's larger and has some premium to go along with it. We're now looking at some limited manufacturing classes. You can see what we have listed here. Fairly basic in terms of class, but as long as they have a minimum payroll of 20,000, we can look at now work comp specifically. We're not going to get as excited about a BOP, we really can't do a BOP for manufacturing risks, but certainly monoline work comp for food products, plastic goods, tool manufacturing, some of your different metal goods, breweries. You guys can kind of see again what we're doing there. Shifting over to the BOP program. So typical for us is TIV up to about $20 million for most classes. And we'll clarify that a little more in the next slide. GL limits up to 2 and 4 million. Really no limit on the number of stories, no limit on the square footage. We can look at annual sales of about 20 million. And I always say about because, obviously there's room to talk about it. There's room for us to make some concessions, look at larger risks that might come in the door. A lot of our underwriting is going to be more predicated on the building updates. So we want to know that major operating systems, heating and cooling, electrical, plumbing have been updated in the last 30 years for older buildings. And we're going to want to see roofs updated within the last 25 years. And that's going to be kind of a standard underwriting criteria for us. The other thing we're going to look at, we really don't want to deal with aluminum wiring in these buildings. And we're going to run a crime score on everything. So if you're in a major metro area, you get into a part of town that tends to have basically parts of town that you're seeing on the nightly news for different crime-related activities, you're probably going to get kicked out for crime score. And we've tweaked some of our criteria there to really limit it to the top, the most severe kind of crime statistical areas in town. So you'll get a feeling for that as you start working with us. So I just told you we'll only look at stuff up to 20 million, and I lied to you because now I'm going to tell you, hey, we'll look at stuff up to 50 million. So for some of the larger property risks that are out there, we can certainly look at habitational up to 50 million, hotels, some of your larger offices. We write some pretty nice high-rise type office exposures. your different retail exposure, strip centers that are out there that would include lesser's risk then. We're going to be looking for 5 years of loss runs. We might ask for some kind of pre-inspection. We're going to get into a little deeper dive in terms of our underwriting guidelines in these cases. If you run into something that has a lot of locations, you can work with Dylan on those situations. We may be able to help Dylan do some of the input, kind of streamline that submission process, but that's something you guys probably don't have to worry about as much. Kind of just some different credits that are available here. You can see we have some discounts for larger restaurants, and we'll talk more about restaurants in a minute. Discounted liquor liability rates when you get into fine dining, and then certified auto shops will offer some discounts there. You can see here some of the add-ons. I mean, not too different from your other carriers. Earthquake is kind of unique. That's worth mentioning on some of these property risks. We are writing some earthquake. We have capacity to offer up to $2.5 million of quake. So after that, you guys can work with Dylan or through your offices to go out and find some monoline earthquake coverage, and that is fairly readily available in the market today. We are writing liquor liability. We're going to be more selective about where we're writing in hired non-owned auto, but we can do some of that. Water backup, there's a variety of add-ons as needed there. So shifting gears into contractors now. And we'll look at both some residential and commercial work, as you can see here in the summary. We certainly like carpentry risks of all sorts, including cabinet installation. We can look at residential cable installation. We'll certainly look at electrical contractors, floor covering work. I mentioned HVAC, heating and cooling guys, I think earlier. Some cleaning and janitorial, your painting, your plumbing, really your standard artisan type work. We'll look at some siding installation and gutter work. For the work comp side of things, we're going to cap out at about 3 stories in height exposure. And, we really don't want contractors who are doing street and road work, who are working with height exposures, or who are, trenching, digging in the ground kind of thing. So we can look at a little bit of that exposure, but we're going to be somewhat limited there. So taking this a step further with Artisan Contractors, you can see here some of the add-ons. One of the things I like to point out, particularly because we're in the middle part of the country where the snow flies from time to time, if we're writing a landscaper or, some other contractor whose work is a little more seasonal and they're doing snow plowing, we can cover that risk and provide some coverage there. Otherwise, a lot of your standard endorsements here, including the ability to cover the contractor's installation, tools, and equipment, which is, always a concern for these guys. So auto services, I kind of hit this on the first slide. The body shops, certainly the parts stores, car washes. We like our gas stations with and without the convenience store exposure, your quick lube stores. We'll look at the 24-hour operations. For these guys who maybe own 1 or 2 tow trucks and they're going out and bringing vehicles back to their shop to work on them, we can look at that towing exposure. We're not a primary market for hire towing necessarily. We do have a program that does that, but it's kind of a one-off. The additional coverages that come along with auto services, you can see we have all the garage endorsements here. Garage keepers is always an issue. We're doing some hired auto physical damage for these guys. Car washes, not everyone gets excited about writing car washes. We can do those, as standalone operations. We can do them as part of an auto service garage as well. HAB, apartments, condos, HOAs. We're still writing everything in this space. The big thing for us is we want 70% or more of these buildings to be occupied. We can look at student housing, but only up to about 20% of the risk. I think we kind of talked about building updates. So there's no real age limitation for us. I mean, we write a lot of older buildings. It's more going to come down to the updates on the building. So the same holds true what we talked about with BOP, major operating systems in the last 30 years, roof updates within the last 25 years. We can also cover directors and officers coverage as an endorsement to our policy. No aluminum wiring. We're going to be sensitive to the crime score. If you have people who have balconies and they're allowing grills on the balconies, we're going to need to work through that grilling policy. Kind of your standard underwriting once you get into it. We do have some separate wind and hail deductibles. We're filed to both offer percentage and flat dollar wind and hail deductibles. So we do have some flexibility there. And then earthquake, we talked about that in terms of BOP earlier, and capacity stays the same for HAB. We can offer up to $2.5 million, and then you're kind of left going out to monoline markets to pick up the additional. Hotel motel, looking for protection class 1 to 8 if we're looking at these. Construction of the building is going to be pivotal in our underwriting. Certainly, you're going to get more preferred rates on the interior room entrance, the business class type hotels. If we're into exterior room entrance, kind of your traditional motels, you're going to see a debited rate. I mean, we're writing them though. So again, not a class of business people are lining up to write. We can offer you some options there. We're going to want to see these buildings are sprinklered in most cases, or there's some kind of alternative water source available. And similar story to what we talked about with building updates, those kind of things that, applicable to hotel motel. You can see here some of the add-on endorsements, coverages, kind of, again, standard to the industry. We can provide higher limits for outdoor property, anything along those lines that they might need. And, we understand these come around along with the swimming pools and, some other added services there. Might be a restaurant attached to the building as well. We can certainly get our arms around all of those type of exposures. Professional offices, this is fairly straightforward. As I mentioned, it is those kind of more basic classes of business that you'll find, the multi-tenant offices, certainly physicians, lawyers, you name it. Not too much to be said there. Restaurants, full cooking, limited cooking, fine dining. We're writing our fair share of fast food, these 24-hour restaurants that would be out there, coffee shops, delis and sandwich shops, family-style restaurants, hamburger, hot dog, donuts, ice cream parlors, pizza shops. The kind of underwriting to keep in mind relative to restaurants. We can go up to 50% liquor sales for full cooking restaurants. So meaning more of your fine dining, sit-down type restaurants. We'll go up to 30% liquor for all others. So, we're staying away from your bars and taverns. We can consider up to 15% delivery exposure if hired and non-owned coverage is on the policy. Otherwise, we will only go up to 50%. Moving on to restaurants, some of the add-on coverages. You can see what's available here. We can get our arms around, everything that these guys are going to need. Again, work comp, BOP, the commercial auto, as long as there's some limited delivery exposure there. Retail, fairly straightforward. Your bakeries, we write a lot of liquor stores. That's not a class of business people love to write. We've talked about kind of C stores already. We like grocery stores, and we'll look at the work comp, the BOP for those guys. A lot of markets aren't real excited about grocery store. Hardware stores can be a little bit tricky if there's a high amount of equipment rental that they do. That might become a challenge, but otherwise we can certainly consider those. Service industry, right, a variety of things here. Certainly your barber shops and beauty salons, funeral homes, and funeral homes can be tough. We can get our arms around everything with those guys. We can look at a laundromat or a dry cleaner. Your different pet grooming services, a veterinarian, anything in that space we have an appetite for. And then printers, photographers, you guys get the idea there. Wholesale distribution, this can be a little bit tricky if you're getting into larger trucks that require filings. You know, at that point, we might have to back off the auto side of things, but we are trying to do more in the wholesale distribution space, particularly if you have local regional hauling, auto parts supply, you know, alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages, any kind of building materials, general electronics, sporting goods, any kind of dry goods. I mean, we certainly want to look at your wholesale distribution type stuff that you're going to run into. Commercial umbrella, you can see here we can go up to 5 million upon request. You know, kind of standard is 2 or 4 million for us. Liquor liability is going to be capped at $1 million, but we do give you the ability to write a commercial umbrella if we're writing the underlying business owner's policy. If we're writing the BOP, we'll offer the umbrella. We can certainly go over our commercial auto, but we would consider going over another A-rated commercial auto carrier as well. More on commercial auto then, ISO-based rates, you know, up to $1 million combined single limits here. You can see what we'll do in terms of FISDAM. I mentioned earlier, a little more basic in terms of our auto risk. We're going to stay away from heavy trucking, anything that requires federal filings. We're going to stay away from delivery, heavy delivery. We're going to stay away from passenger transport. And then we're going to stay away from heavy and extra heavy vehicles. So, I mean, for us, we're really looking for the trucks, vans, more of the artisan contractors, service, dealer, distributor type industries. Shifting gears to professionals. So Stuckey certainly has their programs. You know, Dylan can kind of help supplement with some of what we're doing. So we have a program out there now for smaller law firms, you know, really looking for firms with anywhere between 1 and 35 attorneys, limits up to 3 million. Something else we're rolling out later this year will be an architects and engineers professional liability program. I won't talk about this a ton right now. We'll get Dylan and the team some more information they can communicate to you guys once this becomes live for us. You can see just, you know, kind of teasing the fact that we do write professional for a variety of other classes. You know, real estate appraisers, inspection services is something we can look at. That's kind of unique. Otherwise, it's going to be a little more basic in terms of class. Accountants, some of your other professional classes of business that would be out there. Homeowners is something that's new for us. So today we are writing an HO 2, 3, 4, and 6 product. We have a dwelling fire component here. We can look at your units that are listed on Airbnb and rented out. Some kind of differentiators in our program. So one thing we've done here is we don't have a personal auto program. So if the agency controls the personal auto, we're going to give you a discount on our home program. We can look at up to 99 acres of land owned with a primary home used for incidental farming. There's only 3 dog breeds that we ban. Those would be a pit bull, a Rottweiler, and a wolf breed. So just a few areas there where we're kind of different from the standard home market. The states we're writing in today include Illinois, Texas, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. And we'll have more states coming online later this year. We'll communicate to Dylan and the team as those become live. Most of what we do is direct bill. If you're writing work comp with us, we have some different payroll monthly reporting options as well. That's something Dylan and the team can give you guys more information on. Certainly on our website, there's a platform for policyholder services to get certs, premium audit, online payments, claims reporting. This is something, we can work with Dylan to help you and your clients navigate as well. And everybody's going to get literature when they're writing a policy with us of how to get in and navigate that. Customer service available 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. In addition to the self-service options, there is a team available to help you. So I guess with that, I'd throw it back over to Megan to see what questions we might have.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. That was awesome. We are at the one. If you guys want to stay on and listen to some of the questions we have, feel free. We'll just get right into it. One of our questions is, can you do property in Florida on the BOP coverage?
I'm sorry, can you ask again, Megan?
Yeah, when doing BOP coverage in Florida, can you include property?
We can. We have some specific, coastal guidelines, limitations, minimum wind hail deductibles. There's certainly some underwriting that goes into it, but we are writing, once you move kind of away from the coast in Florida, we're writing some BOP business. So we'll get you guys over those coastal guidelines to you and Dylan, and you guys can share more with the folks who are interested in that. But yes, it is an opportunity to write business down there. Okay,
that's awesome. How about some of the VRBO or Airbnbs? Are those acceptable for your habitational?
It is. That is something we can look at and write.
Okay, perfect. Someone asked, is there a leeway on the crime score in West Tennessee? So in different areas, is there different standards for that crime score?
Absolutely. So, it's going to be pulled individually on a particular municipality or neighborhood. And we've dialed in that criteria to try and drill down to more of a local neighborhood type level. So, I sit here in the kind of the St. Louis metro, there's pockets in the city that aren't necessarily going to get kicked out for a crime score just because they're in the city of St. Louis. Now, you could go a few blocks over and all of a sudden now you're in a neighborhood that's, scoring out at a 99 and it's going to be an ineligible risk for us. So there's not, a single answer. Every risk based on the address is going to be a little bit different.
Okay, that's good to know. What products for GUARD are available in California? I guess commercial and personal.
Yeah, so our home product isn't there yet. So you can pretty much take personal lines off the table. I guess Jess to chime in and correct me if I'm wrong, but and you guys can go out to our website too. I don't even think you have to log in. You can click. There's a product availability map and chart that kind of gives you the rundown. So without looking at it, I want to say we're certainly writing comp. We're writing BOP. We're writing commercial auto, and I believe we're writing a fair amount of professional lines.
Awesome. So we, like I said, we'll ask one more question. Can you cover storage facilities that use mobile storage units?
I don't know the answer to that, but we will check and get back to you. My knee jerk says no, but let's confirm.
Okay, thank you. So we do have quite a few more questions, but like I said, we will get with you. Tyler and I will, after the webinar, give you a call or an email. There'll also be a follow-up email going out. Once again, I want to thank Dan and Jess and Jordan and Dylan for being here. If you guys have submissions you want to send our way, we just, need those accord forms. And you can send those to Dylan or myself or Tyler. So thank you everyone for coming today, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks, guys.